Hey Bulldogs, I'm Carmen Sotlet, and welcome to our November edition of Code Blue News.
Streets, it's a miracle that they find the perfect home for them to live their fullest life.
Hey Bulldogs, this November has been action-packed. There's so much to catch up on. Starting off the month, HMHS saw a huge change in our student cell phone policy with the new Yonder pouches. While cell phone use in schools has become a global issue, the impact has been especially noticeable here in Holbrook. Prior to its kickoff, I was able to take a deeper look into what the new Yonder policies will bring to HMHS and how they'll reshape our school environment.
Just press close, put it here, press again, it opens, phone comes out.
Yonder, a company that has been around for over 10 years now, is becoming more relevant in everyday lives. With education and in-person socialization at an all-time low, this initiative works to use the Yonder pouches to create phone-free spaces.
The pouches are primarily working through magnets. You press the pouch together to close it, it closes up, and then you open it through putting the pin on the magnetic unlocking base. Since the introduction of the iPhone in particular, there have been students' grades that are getting worse and really mental health issues and disciplinary issues in schools. So there's a lot of positive results that we've seen from schools. They're eating lunch, they're checking more books out of the library. We've had schools that have, had the kids look at their report cards and look at their grades. We've had students be able to increase their credit hours and again, decreases in those cell phone related disciplinary issues.
Similar to other schools, HMHS has faced issues with cell phone abuse, regardless of a multitude of policies. Looking for the best solution, turning to Yonder may be just what this school needs to resolve the issue.
This is not punitive. I want everyone to understand that, okay? This is something that across this town, the region, the country, the world, thinks is actually going to help you guys a lot.
If you ask just about any teacher in this school what one of the major distractions here are, they would probably, the majority of them, if not all of them, would name cell phones.
We really feel that this is helping kids. When we look at this research, it is glaringly obvious that too much exposure to screen time is detrimental.
If students don't obey the rules and don't put their phones in pouches, there's a very clear pathway as to what happens. First time offense is a parent call, a 3-hour detention. Second offense is a parent conference, 5-hour detention. Third offense, parents come in for a suspension hearing. By the end of the year, I think students are going to thank us and be grateful that this policy is in place. I think they'll see that their academic scores are better and their relationship with their peers is deeper.
There'll be an adjustment period. It'll be hard. But I would agree with Mr. Tursky, Principal Tursky, in saying that by the end of the year, districts around us have had kids say it was the best decision our school has made because we're starting to take back teaching and learning. Even one issue with a cell phone can eat up 3 or 4 hours of administrative time, and that's time we're not spending in classrooms.
I think it's going to be a good thing. I really believe that. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't think it was going to help students and actually improve their quality of life and their academic performance.
HMHS's implementation of the Yonder pouches was certainly the right step towards one of our biggest issues our district faces. Although I miss being able to check my notifications in between classes, being away from my phone during the day is probably for the best. I'm looking forward to seeing all the benefits of being in a phone-free space. Besides, November wasn't just about the change in the phone policy. It was also ballot season here in Massachusetts. From minimum wage to state legislator audits, this year's ballot definitely captured some of the toughest decisions that our state faces. The one that really got people talking, though, was question 2. CBN reporter Nevaeh Carroll took a closer look at exactly what made it so divisive.
Since its creation in 1993, high school students in Massachusetts have been required to pass the MCAS test in order to graduate. But this might see a change with question 2, as voting yes will result in it not being a requirement anymore, and voting no will result in keeping it the same way.
I am a strong supporter of yes on 2 because for the last 25 years, we have seen firsthand the harm when we reduce our students to a one-time metric that simply reflects a snapshot in time. 16,000 students did not pass the MCAS on their first try. 63% were English language learners. 21% were students from low socioeconomic backgrounds.
Unlike most teachers, I think it's actually probably more of a problem than a benefit. Mostly because students won't be incentivized to pass the exam because it's not a graduation requirement anymore. I mean, maybe it has statewide, maybe it has, but district-wide for us, it has not been a problem. I've worked here for 16 years, and certainly students have failed the MCAS exam, but I can't think of a single student who hasn't been able to pass it before they graduated. I do think there's other ways to assess students, and those things are also valuable, but I don't think that the MCAS exam actually proves to be an impediment for students graduating.
The MCAS isn't a framework, it's an assessment. In Hull, we have standard-based report cards. When I get evaluated yearly, it was upon how well I was teaching to these frameworks. The frameworks aren't going anywhere. We are number one because Massachusetts educators are highly educated. The MCAS only measures 43% of the standards, and what's not being measured is the ability to be a critical thinker.
I think that voters should consider when casting their ballot if the current status quo is actually problematic, if the state has any plans to change testing, and what will the new metrics be, right? Because if we're not going to have the MCAS as a graduation requirement, something is going to have to replace it.
I want them to know that all students deserve promise and potential. Some of the brightest students in my classroom were not good test takers. And it is time for us to lift up all learners and allow them the opportunity to thrive.
As the debate continues, there is no doubt that Question 2 has caused a disagreement between the people in Massachusetts. Their differing perspectives have definitely made this an interesting topic to think about twice during this upcoming ballot. For Cold Blue Now, this has been Nevaeh Carroll. Back to you in the studio.
The debate surrounding Question 2 revealed just how divided people can be in their opinions, especially when it comes to shaping the future of our state. But while disagreements over policy can sometimes drive us apart, there are other experiences that have a way of bringing people together. Music has always been a source of community, and since its debut, the Blue Man Group has been capturing audiences all over the nation. With their unique and boundary-pushing performances that blend music, comedy, and breathtaking visual art, they provide an amazing experience for the audience. Our very own Tashayla Blair was able to take us behind the scenes to get a personal look at what makes this iconic group so special.
In the alleyways of Boston lies a colorful hidden gem. In what may seem like a creepy walk to some, this theater is home to a popular band known as the Blue Man Group. The Blue Man Group was created in New York in 1987 and expanded to Boston in 1995. Where color meets music, this combination, along with audience engagement, keeps the audience connected to the performance.
So I was probably like 10 or 11 when I first heard about the group, and then I went to that show probably when I was like 12, 13 years old. It was really cool because you know they're people, but like there's such an anonymousness. So it was really cool to see like them as just themselves, like living their everyday lives.
The concept of the Blue Man Group stems from the performing arts perspective. Although there is no symbolism behind the color, the decision to remain silent is to leave a sense of mystery behind the art as the audience leaves the stadium.
The show itself is so crowd interactive, and I think that that's such a fun thing for a show to do. They had to stand up and like move around, like kind of like an intermission. They like drop like tissue paper and toilet paper all throughout the crowd, and they have like these blow dryers that like kind of push all the paper all over the crowd, and it's just such a fun like way to interact with the crowd and like get the crowd excited for like the next thing that you're gonna do, because like even without like the interactive part of the show, and so it's just like such a interesting show to watch.
With the outpouring support around the country, having a dedicated theater helps not only the band but also the audience feel closer to home, so they both leave the building knowing the show was a success. For Cold Blue Now, I'm Tashayla Blair, and back to you in the studio.
Personally, I would love to make my way to one of these performances. The amount of creativity and thought put into everything is truly inspiring. It's moments like these that remind us how much talent and dedication humans have to offer. But on that note, this about wraps up our November edition. For Code Blue News, I'm Carmen Sotlet, and see you next month.